We Watch Movie. I'm Mike, he's Jay, and we promised it for a long time. We're finally going to do it. We're going to review the Halloween Returns script.
Holy fuck, beans! It was great!
Written by Marcus Dunstan and friends. Now, this was...
Marcus Dunstan and friends.
Marcus Dunstan. Dunstan checks in.
Dunstans.
Yeah. This was written a while back. What happened was they were going to do Halloween 3D. That shit got canceled. We reviewed that script. I'll put that video at the end of this video if you want to watch it. But they were going to do Halloween 3D and follow up on Rob Zombie stuff. Then the rights got switched around. Shit got crazy. The next thing you know, they're going to do Halloween Returns, which is this script. Marcus Dunstan, who's the director of the Collector movies, was set as one of the writers. Him and another guy were supposed to write this movie about that picks up the night of Halloween. Like, it erases all the sequels, which I kind of don't like.
Yeah, that's a problem.
It erases all the sequels and it picks up the night of Halloween and involves Michael Myers on death row. Now, then the rights got switched around. Blumhouse has it now. John Carpenter signed on as a producer, and this script basically got canceled for what we supposedly know is that this movie's not happening now. So this movie was supposed to be the one.
And it could have been the one. You are the one, Neo.
You are my own
This is...
one.
Oh my god, guys. This fucking script was amazing. Like, I mean, if you guys get a chance to read this, literally it flows so well. Everything is conjoined and tied together in such a way, it really makes you feel like you're watching a classic Halloween movie. Like, not just like a shitty Halloween sequel they could have thrown out there for whatever, for the dogs to rip up, because I would have eaten the shit out of it no matter what, if we just got a Halloween movie. But this is like true art.
There's stuff wrong with it. Yes.
Yeah, there's problems, but dude, I mean, based on, oh my god, dude, yeah.
In the pages, there's greatness.
So let's talk about this. First off, it takes place in Russellville, Illinois, rather than Haddonfield, which, it does kind of strike you as weird, like when you start, reading the script. And again, we're gonna say we watched it because it's almost like, I'm gonna say I watched it because it almost feels like you watched a movie because how well it flows together in the script. But, so it takes place in Russellville, and so Michael Myers is going about doing his business, doing his thing, killing people as he does in awesome, gruesome ways. And they really showcase that in a way that's unique and different than what we've seen before. Because we've seen the POV shots, and you mentioned this off camera, we've seen the POV shots of Michael Myers breathing through the mask and things like that throughout the Halloween series, but not in the way that they were going to shoot it, where you actually are Michael Myers and going around stalking these young kids and murdering them in such a way that you're like, I want to be Michael for Halloween. So the night takes place literally in the middle of the awesomeness. I mean, it starts off with, I think it says it pulls back off the exterior of a house. You see a girl running across the street, screaming, "Help me," girl named Karen. And then the camera swings around and you're Michael Myers stalking this girl as she's running around neighborhood to neighborhood. Cops are screeching. There's fucking, lights and ass and tits everywhere, and blood and guts. And he's walking casually along, stalking this girl as Michael would. And, man, I don't know, the atmosphere alone at the very beginning, this draws you in.
There's a scene, I know you didn't watch the first season of True Detective, but for you guys who watched the first season of True Detective, that one episode where they do the tracking shot and they're running from the bikers and they go into this neighborhood, that's exactly what this scene reads like. As you said, it's hardcore Henry, the Michael Myers version.
Yeah.
There's a dog that's on a leash that jumps up in his face and tries to bite at him, but it's on a cord.
Because you can see the jump scares coming.
Yeah.
The jump scares were there. Because they
feel it
underlined
being in his ass. Like, I feel like it'd be so easy to shoot this. The script is done so well. This would be an easy movie to shoot. He comes up to a house. He goes into the house, he's stalking around or whatever, but ultimately he goes in, and what this house turns out to be is Deputy Hunt. Deputy Hunt's house. Now, Deputy Hunt's not there in the house. He goes in the house, he kills some people, in perfect Michael Myers fashion, because he's so weird you don't know what he does, and this whole script, he does this a lot. He'll do strange things, and you're like, that's kind of weird for Michael, but it fits perfectly. Like, he opens one door, and you're still in the POV, and he sees the little boy. And he just continues to walk down the hall.
He never fucks with kids. Like, he's never, even that, they stay true to that point of his character.
Right, and he'll scare him. Like, he just wants to fuck with him. But and then the next thing you know, like, he doesn't even think about it. He knows that this chick is in this closet. He stabs the closet, breaks the door open, stabs her, throws her down the stairs, and kills a couple people. Next thing you know, the deputy comes to the house, and he's like, "What?" He's like, "The fuck you doing in my house?"
Yeah, he said it like very ghetto.
Yeah.
What you doing, Michael?
Yeah,
but where's my last $10?
This is still just the opening scene. You haven't even seen the title drop yet. The cops come up, and this dude comes out of nowhere, and he is the new Loomis character. Now
Paul Rogers.
Yeah, they mentioned, I kept thinking Captain America.
I did too.
But they mentioned on the radio that, because this takes place the night of Halloween after the events of Halloween 1, they mentioned on the radio that Loomis and Laurie Strode were found in another house in the upstairs. I assumed that they're alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I assume that they're alive, and we'll get to that. But so you know where we're at in the script. Now the cops show up, and this Dr. Rogers shows up, and he's like, Michael, no. And the way that reads it so perfect, Michael looks down at his knife and looks up at Rogers, and he's not sure what to do. The cops are there, and Rogers is screaming, no, Michael, they're going to kill you. Yeah. No, they're going to kill you.
He's like, this is real deal, Michael. Like, you're fucked here. Like, you're surrounded. And then I think Michael kind of, like, submits.
Yeah.
Like, he does. And it's cool as fuck, dude. They say that the POV pulls out, and, from, Michael's perspective. So you're following along, it pulls out, you just see the back of Michael's head, he gets on his knees and just kind of hangs his head, he quits. He stops. But did he really quit? Did he really stop? No, Sally Jesse Raphael. It's not over yet. He is just beginning. And it goes from there. And now let me tell you something, guys. At the beginning of this movie, there was so much drawing from inspirations from the other Halloween past. Halloween 1, definitely. Like, in the very beginning of this movie, there's a lot of Halloween 1 present. I mean, just the girl screaming across the street, the way the POV was moving, the way I could see and envision them shifting and shooting certain shots, like the cop coming out of the alleyway looking weird and disheveled, like, oh my god, where is he? What's going on? A cop car screeching up, like, we just spotted him down the street, and then, the cops, squealing out. All that, they got that. They also took out parts of Halloween 6, Curse of Michael Myers, and Halloween 1 too, because the little boy that sees him in the hunt house is Noah, which Tommy Doyle. It was a Tommy Doyle complete fucking remake, because Tommy Doyle does see him across the street and has an interaction with Michael Myers, a brief one, but it is there. That was there in that part when he breaks into the hunt house, dude. And from there on, it goes into its own original territory.
When the opening drops out, at that moment, Michael drops to his knees, as you said, it pans out, and you get the boom, Halloween Returns. Which I could have thought of better names,
dude,
easily.
The Halloween Returns, though, but the way the sequence was going to go, they say it starts on a jack-o'-lantern, and then it expands out, and you see it's an iris of a pupil, and then the mask takes up the whole screen, and I'm sure the music was going to be going. Dude, it will pump you the fuck up.
Reading that, I knew that reading that opening scene and how much it felt like a Bond opening sequence. Yeah. Like reading how much effort they put just into the painting out, and you realize all the jack-o'-lanterns are in the shape of Michael's face.
Yeah, and then Tina Turner comes on and sings Goldeneye.
I really felt like they got it. Like they knew how important little things like that were to Halloween fans. But we pick up from that, and now Michael Myers is on death row, and we've got these characters, these new characters, and what's weird is that they've replaced characters, yet those characters are still alive. Like you got Deputy Hunt now, who's pissed off.
No, he's a sheriff now.
Yeah, oh yeah. His wife has been killed. He's all fucked up. His whole life screwed up. Rogers has been treating Michael. This is 10 years later. He's been treating Michael, and he's been ignoring his family. He's been obsessed with figuring out why it is that Michael did this. So his life is all disheveled, and he's kind of the new Loomis. But meanwhile, you assume Loomis is still somewhere, and yet he has nothing to do with it, which is very strange. Also, the new Laurie is now the daughter of Steve Rogers. Sophia, and same thing with her. I mean, her dad's been ignoring her. You get the sense that he's a good guy, but he's just obsessed with figuring out why Michael did this.
I mean, you pretty much have the cookie cutter cast around. I mean, they didn't do much different on that, which is fine. I don't mind them, displacing and replacing some things.
It's just strange.
It is, and that like I said, we got Sophia Hunt, which is the daughter of Gary Hunt, which is the sheriff of this town.
And you got to have the party kids.
And you got Noah, Fogg, fucking smoking bitch. Noah's best friends, Fogg and Bear. And then you got Sophia's friends, Bree and Ashley, and they're typical high schooler, 18-year-olds.
They're people there to
titties
die.
hanging out like they want to smoke pot and drink beer.
And they're there to die,
And they're cannon fodder. Yeah. But now so we go, and he's on death row. And Paul Rogers has been treating it since that night, at the very beginning of the movie. It's been 10 years. And for 10 years, he's been trying to reach Michael Myers, trying to figure out what's been going on. And there's one pivotal moment in the jail cell, or on death row actually, when Paul Rogers is sitting across the cell from Michael talking to him. He's like, for 10 years I've been trying to reach you. There's no sympathy, there's no remorse, there's nothing. And he's like, I don't think you belong here amongst the living, which is a great line.
Yeah.
I think that you need to go back, or you need to die, because you don't belong here, and it's going to bring at least closure to other people and to me. Now, the problem is, I can see that's going to be amazing. Yeah. And again, they're so good. The writers of this script are so good to make sure that you understand you're not going to see some fucking Rob Zombie Viking with a giant beard at some point just sitting there going, I want to get back on my ship.
Like, mom was a stripper.
Like, nothing like that. It always says Michael Myers' face, when he doesn't have his mask on, is hidden in shadow.
And then the writer bolds it and underlines it.
Make sure.
Michael Myers' face will never be shown. These guys get Halloween.
Don't fuck with the bull, young man. You will get the horns. But that's what he said. But that moment, I'm going to say really quick. So in that moment, in that scene, when he's talking about, that's cool. And it felt like, I thought he was going to go into a Loomis speech because it kind of felt like a Loomis speech. But Mike and I were talking about it, like, how the hell is this been going on for 10 years after Michael just massacred like 12 or 14 people based on the voiceovers that you had going on? He killed a bunch of people in Russellville. Is Loomis not there? You're going to let Rogers treat Loomis's patience, his obsession for like however long. You're going to let that happen? And we'll get to that at the end because there is some stuff that kind of goes back to that. But because we know Loomis is alive and we don't know why he's not there.
Mm-hmm. Maybe he was injured because of the events of Halloween 1. I'm not sure.
Unless
but it's 10 years. So
yeah. So I mean, Halloween 2. Unless like he got burned up. So
they erased Halloween 2 though.
Yeah. So
I mean, they erased all that shit. So and let's talk about that. So Michael Myers now at this point is on death row. The whole thing with the kids that's going on is that Noah, remember, he watched his mom die.
Yeah.
Noah's obsessed with it. He wants to see Michael Myers die. He wants to sneak in. So he's hitting up Sophia, who's Steve Rogers. Is it Steve Rogers?
No, it's Paul.
Who's hitting up Paul Rogers' daughter. Because he wants her to get him in. Now that's a whole nother side story. They sneak into the execution. So Michael Myers is on death row. You never see his face. There's a scene where Sophia sneaks in and looks in a cell and Michael inches closer to the bars.
That's badass.
But they don't show it. It's a really cool scene.
Yeah.
But next thing you know, all right, Michael Myers is set to be executed in Russellville on Halloween night, which is fucking stupid to begin with. I mean, come on.
October 30th, actually.
Come on. Oh, yeah.
It's the day before.
But that's crazy. You need to do that shit in December.
do that the new year. Do January 1st.
When he's not fucking angry.
Do it on Valentine's Day.
So all these people are there to see Michael, and it's just cool to see Michael in this situation. They march Michael out, okay? They march him out, and they're going to do the 3 injection thing. Like you've seen it in movies before. They got the 3 tubes.
He's lethal injection, yeah.
Basically gives him, it's supposed to send him into cardiac arrest. But this is fucking Michael Myers. You can't fuck with the devil. So the kids sneak in, and that whole scene is amazing. They sneak in, there's an audience watching behind this plexiglass window. They administer the stuff, and meanwhile outside there's this terrible storm going on. Michael seems to be submitting. Like he's going to lay down and let them put this shit inside.
Until he sees Sophia, he's like, that young child must die.
He catches her eye in the audience, and he starts to like look up.
And dude, oh my god, yes! Because, yes! I got excited. I got a boner. Like when I was reading this, I was like, I have a boner. Like when he's on the lethal injection table, and they go from vertical to horizontal.
Horizon.
Yeah, but he's already seen her.
Yeah.
That the medicine, because before all this happened, Rogers had asked the medical examiner. He was like, why are you using this and not this? Because there was a problem with the drug mixture that they were going to be using. And they're like, it's fine, you don't know shit. And he's like, no, seriously, this is not a normal guy. Like, why are you using this kind of stuff? And they're like, shut the fuck up. I'm taking this investigation over. He's like, well, why don't you cry about it? And so there's just all this stuff. And what happens, actually, is they're supposed to, the first vial is supposed to, get him into like a lazy kind of moment.
Comatose.
Then it's supposed to be send his levels to a spike level, and then the last one is to send him into the black, as they say. But what it does actually is increases his adrenaline. And when he sees that girl, he's like, I've got to get out of here. I got to fucking curl that girl. I don't care, because she reminds me of the person that didn't invite me to the 3rd grade party.
Red Bull gives you wings!
And it was badass how they
oh, man.
They're like, okay, in the viewing room, right? Everybody's there. They inject Michael, and then it says, the script reads, we go into the POV of Michael. He's looking around, and they're like, do you have any last words? He obviously doesn't. I have no last words.
If it was Ram Zombie, he would.
He would say, Mom! But yeah, no last words. The POV is in Michael, but when you see the camera shifting around and he spots Sophia, he starts to shake a little bit, and his hands clench. When they talk about how that poison is going in his system and it turns from yellow to red to like black,
you can literally see his veins bruised.
Yeah, and he's like pushing the poison out of his fucking system.
Here's a question I have for the scene.
He's a fucking Zen master.
Yeah, he starts fucking shaking and trying to break out. I want to see this movie because I want to know, like, how ripped do you make Michael? Do you make him in shape ripped? Do you make him just a big guy? Yeah. Because, like, you see his veins and he's, like, stretching and he's trying to get the fuck out of this thing. I know it sounds stupid, but I really want to know, like, how big do you make Michael? Because you don't want to look like him. He does CrossFit.
No, he's got to be like
he's got to make him fat.
He's got to be Mike the Situation from Jersey Shore. He's got an 8-pack rocking below those utilities. But no, I mean it was cool. Like that scene, how they described it. The black, there was veins, and it's like bursting out. And then the medical examiner's like, "Oh shit, we got to break in the IV line because they'd already." And then they're trying to fix that, and too late because Michael's been jerking against those restraints. He breaks out of that restraint, fucking takes that bitch's head, 180s it.
Oh yeah, that was the way that, like I said, this. I feel like this would be an easy movie to make because the script's so good. It's like cut to quick shot. All of a sudden, Michael, when he breaks free, snaps their heads at 180 degrees. Cut to quick shot. He picks up a scalpel and just fucking names somebody with
He
it.
puts a syringe to a guy's eyeball.
Yeah,
but
he likes to do that.
That's when I turned on a looping 10-hour track of Halloween theme music. I'm not kidding, dude. The Halloween, this is the only way to read it. You read the script. You go to YouTube and you type in Halloween theme 10 hours, you press play, and you might, dude, it's fucking there. That moment on, it's like, it's visceral, man. Like the way he's like, because Michael's smart in this too. They actually show Michael's like, intelligence because he breaks out, and when he's like, he breaks out the restraints, and Rogers is like trying to look through because they pull the curtain on the execution because something went wrong. He's trying to look through the execution glass or the viewing glass, and he can't see anything. And then all of a sudden, it says clunk, and he throws a body at it, and it cracks. And Rogers is like, what the fuck is going on? Myers gets out, goes through the control room, and opens the cell for all the prisoners to get out to cause mass hysteria and riots. Meanwhile, everybody in the viewing room that thought everything was going to go hunky-dory is like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I'm going to, like, Denny's. Because this is ridiculous.
And it's a badass scene too because the storm going on outside actually knocks the electricity out. So imagine watching Michael Myers get executed. The next thing you know, he starts to fucking freak out and like he took some pre-workout.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know,
we're never gonna get
the electricity goes out. The electricity goes out, everybody gets released from the fucking thing, and shit goes into pandemonium territory. Now, they go into everybody else is trying to get away, and everybody's shoveling over each other trying to get out. But, and I have a couple problems with this scene, because when we go into Michael Myers gets out of the room, he kills a fuckload of people. It reminds me of the scene in Halloween 6, my favorite scene when the strobe lights go off, and he kills all the doctors. Great scene. It seems like this is an awesome scene here. He gets out, he escapes, and Rogers is going after him. He's trying to find him. Now, he goes down this hallway. There's a bunch of smoke everywhere, and Karen is in the hallway, the girl from the beginning, and he's like, what the fuck are you doing here? Next thing you know, Michael picks her up from her throat. He doesn't stab her, and the thing is, he has a giant knife all of a sudden, and the script doesn't explain where he got it from, so that's kind of weird, but he picks her up, and he has a giant knife, and he drops her on the fucking knife.
God damn, you imagine that fucking sound.
That's some Kane shit.
He didn't even it's like Undertaker slam it down on the mat. They actually, when they put out an APB on Michael, they don't say he's a giant. He's not Tyler Mane big. He's like 6 foot and 200 and something pounds.
Yeah.
At 30 years old. That's not bad. Like, that is more in line with what the classic Michael Myers would be. I mean, I'm nothing against having a huge giant Michael Myers. Like, Tyler Mane was a good Michael Myers. But a 6 foot, 200 pound Michael Myers isn't bad either. And the fact that he is a smaller dude and able to do what he's doing is scarier to me.
That's true. That is a good point. So Michael goes after Steve. God damn it, Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
He goes after him and like shuts the door in his face, like because he knows he's after him, and you get the sense that Michael doesn't want to kill him.
No, it's not. And you know that's another thing. We talked about the intelligence, Michael. This is like this script. I don't know if they were aiming for this, but it felt like Michael was like a cat playing with prey.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I'm gonna fuck with you. I know what makes you tick down. Because again, remember at the execution, he saw his daughter, and he knew that was Roger's daughter.
Yeah.
We don't know why. We don't know how he knew that was his daughter, but he knew. And also, Paul did see his daughter there at the execution because Sophia had earlier come in and asked if she could see it, and he's like, no.
Yeah. But and the next thing you know, you get this cool scene of Mr. Rogers goes into the locker room, kind of this area of the prison. Everything's pandemonium. The prisoners are escaping. Crazy shit's happening, and Michael's nowhere to be seen. He goes into the locker room. And he opens up a locker expecting Michael to be in there, but Karen wasn't, I think, drops out.
I don't think it was Karen. They just said a body.
There's shots going everywhere. It's fucking pandemonium. It would have been interesting to see how they shot this, but a body comes out of it, and he looks over, and he sees a black utility jumpsuit missing. So Michael, he changed his fucking clothes, and he shoved his...
He went Batman Begins.
He shoved his prison clothes into the locker and escaped. And the next thing you know, there's a huge explosion.
No, Sheriff Gary runs in.
Oh, that's right.
Sheriff Gary runs in. He's like, what are you doing on the ground? Get up! And he's like...
Get up, Rock!
He's like,
I just did what Michael Myers,
Give me some Lipton iced tea. But yeah, I mean...
Brisk!
And then he runs into the fucking, Sheriff's like, well, you're a pussy! And he, runs into the fucking utility room and it blows the fuck up because Myers has wired this in such a way to where we're guessing it's, gas canisters back there.
And that's a problem I have with the script. It just seems strange that Michael's like, I'm going to rig an explosive.
But then again, it would be strange that Michael would take a time to stuff a body to a locker.
Well, no, he's always done that.
Well,
he likes to take his prey and do that to it.
But he's not stupid. I mean,
But he's never set up explosives before, so that just seems strange.
He's with James Bond.
Yeah.
But, okay, so that happened, and that's amazing, because that would, again, it's showing the intelligence of Michael, and I like this. He's an intelligent predator. He's an apex predator. So he's like, He did this so that they would think that he died in an explosion, because that's what happens after this all goes down, and everybody okay, so during the midst of all this chaos and confusion, everybody's running out trying to leave. Michael just slips out through the front gate because they leave the gate open, and Rogers realizes this, and he runs over to the gate and he's like, "You aren't screaming. You need to be screaming these people." And they're like, the guard's like, "Fuck you. We know what we're doing. Nobody's ever escaped this prison." So that's why Myers rigged that explosion for everybody to assume he died in the explosion.
They have like 6 different cameras, and they say on those cameras we show that nobody escaped. And there's a big fire. Worst part of the script. The worst part of the script is the way they go back to this explosion. If it were me, I'd be like, the script's great. You need to fix that explosion, the whole reason behind it, and everything. Because it's so stupid, because they say Michael escaped through this, and of course everyone's like, "Oh, Michael's dead." Everybody thinks he's dead, and then hang on, Rogers is like, Rogers is the only one. He plays the Loomis part where he's like, I don't think he's dead, and he's trying to tell people. And Sheriff Hunt also doesn't think he's dead, so they end up teaming up in this preacher-like fashion. But the stupid part is at one point the script says the fire was so hot it would have melted teeth. That's the exact point of the teeth in these movies, is that, when people burn alive, their teeth are still there. Fires don't get so hot they melt fucking teeth.
Yeah, it's not like the sun. Another thing, before the execution, you see silver shamrocks pop up.
And that
was cool shit.
It's strange because not just that time, but 1 or 2 times in this script, they actually use shit from the Halloween 3D script.
Right.
The same exact thing in Halloween 3D happens in this script, whereas after this shot, you see Bear and the party friends going over to the Halloween shop, right?
The bodyguards or something.
Yeah, they're trying to buy beer in a funny scene. I like these. The characters are written well because the guy's just trying to buy beer and shit. And they seem
I like Fogg too, because Fogg's like, "Listen, do you want to be running around Bear as just the golden silverback ape, or you want to be a golden god?" He's like, they've been like, okay, so their friend Bear, they've been making him grow a beard in high school because they can't grow one. I know, Mike. They can't grow a beard. And so they've been making Bear, their 18-year-old other friend, grow this giant beard to go in and buy beer. And it's a really cool scene. It's kind of like a scene that I don't know. I guess in high school we might have even tried it if we could have got away with it.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, like in the other script, in the Halloween 3D script, the kids were kind of assholes. You didn't really like them. In this, you actually liked the kids. The kids were good kids. Like, yeah, they wanted to party, smoke pot, and have sex and shit, as horror movies do, but you liked them. Like, they made you actually like the characters. Yeah. And that was pretty cool. But they go over to the Halloween shop, and this, again, is from Halloween 3D, the script. Like you said, Silver Shamrocks, the commercial's playing on the TV. You see that playing in there. There's some stuff going on inside the store, and the next thing you know, Michael Myers' hand reaches out and grabs the Halloween mask. Like a bloody hand reaches out.
It was cool as fuck, though, because it's funny how the authors of this particular thing, they said, he grabs the mask. Like, they don't say the Michael Myers mask. And I think, actually, they pinned it the Halloween Killer Massacre. That's what they were called. They didn't say the Myers Massacre or anything like that. It was the Halloween Killer, which is pretty cool. And the poor shop owner, I don't remember his name. I'm just going to call him Bodiger. Bodiger. That's from RoboCop. But I mean, it starts with a B. But he's like this nice, gentle guy or whatever. And Myers is in that fucking store. He takes the mask. And there's one scene specifically when the store owner's walking through the aisles and he thinks it's just a mask, its head's tilted down, he's trying to lift it up, and that's when Myers grabs him and fucks him up.
Badass scene though, because he actually reaches out to pick up the mask, puts Michael's face.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
And then he fucking kills him. It's a really good kill, it's a cool scene.
And Sophia does see Myers, because at this point, we mentioned Bear, Fogg, Noah, and Sophia meets them there at the liquor store, which is across the street from the Halloween store, and when they get their beer or whatever, Sophia is in the car or the truck with Noah and everybody, and she looks over and sees Myers just standing there. And again, it's one of those cool things with the way they're writing it, because she looks over there and then it says POV from Myers and just breathing heavy, like this, like deeper breathing when he sees her.
And that whole next part of the script,
I think Myers is horny.
We go through some aimless stuff where nothing happens, but it really does harken to the original Halloween in these scenes, because they go back to her house and it's a bunch of stuff that really doesn't matter, but the kids are hanging out and stuff's happening, but Michael Myers is around, and you're really confused about what he's doing because he'll show his face, like just like in the original Halloween when Laurie would see him standing out next to the laundry.
Oh yeah, dude.
You would see his face pop up, and then he'd be gone behind a tree, and it was they haven't done that this well since the first Myers, and he would just be creeping around lurkily.
Because he steals the guy's van. The black van, the
Halloween van.
Yeah, and it was a big pumpkin on the side. Whatever. I mean, everybody has to have their Batmobile.
He
has his Batmobile, and he's stalking these kids and he's following to their neighborhoods and things like that. And it says like when he gets out of the car to follow Sophia up her steps after Noah drops her off, she gets that feeling somebody's watching her, and she turns around. And it reminded me so much of the Laurie Strode scene from the very first one, when Myers just kind of goes back behind the bushes, because right before she sees him, he steps behind a tree. Right. I could see that scene happening just like the fucking original. It was a recreation of the exact original scene. Awesome.
And then there's a strange scene too that kind of just fits strangely in the script. But these two kids like walk up to the Halloween van sitting outside the house, and they're like, "That's Old Man Withers' van or whatever." And they look in, and they're like, "That doesn't look like Old Man Withers." And then he starts to drive off, but then he stops the van.
They egged his fucking car,
and he throws the fucking head of the shop owner out into the street, and then just drives off. And it's like, that's kind of, it's weird, but it's cool.
I liked it that they, again, well, I'll get to that, but. We already talked about they recreated that Halloween 1 scene, right? Okay, so they did that, and you stepped behind the tree. Fast forward a little bit, we're at Noah's house. Sophia's over with Fogg and Bear. They're putting the beer away. Myers is stalking them, moving around the side of the house as the POV is talking, moving around the side of the house, looking into the windows, watching them have their conversation. And Liam, the little brother of Noah, we didn't really mention him. He was the baby that survived the night. Myers came and killed the Hunt family, basically.
He's a cool fucking kid, too.
Yeah, he is awesome. He's outside on the front porch, like, carving a jack-o'-lantern with a butcher's knife. Myers is around the side of the house. Again, he doesn't fuck with kids. And there's laundry hanging out, right? He sees an axe sitting, like, in a stoop, and he grabs the axe. Basically, he grabs it. And the dog's barking. You hear a yelp, but he didn't kill the dog. He wasn't hungry.
I didn't like this part of the script.
But I will say what I liked about it, though, is when it just reminded me, he grabs the axe, the laundry's flapping in the wind. You can kind of see it like an autumn kind of day. Dusk is setting. It looked like, to me in my head while I was reading it, Halloween 6.
When he kills the mom.
Exactly, just like that.
And then that's what eventually happened. And I don't like that scene in the script, though, because like the axe disappears, the dog yelps, you think all this shit's going to happen, and it turns out to be typical non-jump scare jump scares.
But I will say...
the dog comes back out, and the dog's fine, and the axe is fine. I mean, nothing happened. It was just pointless, kind of.
But when Myers does take the axe, he leaves it, and he grabs the butcher's knife that Liam was using on the front porch, because... Michael's preferred weapon, and he goes back to the van. When he gets egged by those kids, it's funny because the camera or the way that the script was reading, Myers stops. He lets the engine idle, and it says Michael stares out with intensity and rage from his eyes, like, you just egged my fucking car. And he's like, then he throws the head out.
Yeah.
But and then it's like Michael sets her for a breath or a beat, like breathing hard, then he drives off. He's like, do you see?
It's those weird little things that Michael does that you're unsure as to why. So that scene happens. They go to the I guess the barn, pumpkin patch in the barn, and it's really drawn out well the way they explain how everything looks, and there's a maze and all this shit. It's good Halloween fun times. So they go there. Next thing you know, eventually the whole party's going on there. The kids are going to have sex together. It's going to be it's going to be a great time. And then Michael shows up and he starts killing people. And the way that he does it is really fucking cool. This one girl's running and she's like, "If you catch me, you can do whatever you want to me." He's like, "Whatever I want." He's like, "Fuck yeah." So they're running through this maze field. He kills them. He sticks the knife right through the kid's head.
That's all. It lifts him off the ground to eye level.
Yeah, and then when he goes to kill the girl, I don't understand that scene. It read weird to me because he kills her with a pitchfork. She's taking a selfie, and it's a really cool scene. She's taking a selfie, and the flash is there. When you see the flash, Michael gets closer and closer and closer in the flash. Cool. Really, really cool.
Kind of like Insidious, kind of.
Then he stabs her with a pitchfork, breaks her phone while doing it, and it says it leaves her arm immobile, and stabs her in the stomach with a pitchfork. But then she runs away. Bitch runs away with the pitchfork sticking out of her stomach.
They didn't really go. They didn't go along with what's going on. Like, I guess he pulled it out and she wasn't dead.
It's not very well explained.
I know, but this is the part that gets really intense because even before the pumpkin patch, Roger's wife is hunted and stalked by Myers, and Myers is in the house. And again, it reminds me of Halloween 6 in a way because she's on the phone with Roger's her husband, Emma. Emma is her name. Emma's on the phone with Paul, talking to him, and he's like, "Get out of the house, get Sophia, get out of the house." He's there, he's coming, and you see Michael behind her while she's talking, and then he chases her through the house, and eventually he stabs this bitch in the neck with a broken vodka bottle, which is badass. Like, that scene played out so well, in my mind.
It did play it so well because you think she's gonna get away. He grabs her, he's trying to kill her, she escapes, the doorbell rings and it's trick-or-treaters. She goes to run to the door for help and Michael goes the other way.
Yeah.
The way the script reads, and it seems like she's gonna get away. Next thing you know, he hits her with his vodka bottle and then stabs her in the fucking neck with it. And it's just like, holy shit, that would have been a really cool scene.
Right.
It would have been scary.
And Rogers comes to a conclusion that he knows that Michael is after Sophia, his daughter, and Hunt's son, Noah, because he's like, he saw him at the execution. He knows what they're going after. So when he gets home, when he gets and sees his wife die in his arms, he's like, we got to find out where they went because that's who he's after. Myers is after my daughter and your son. He goes to Liam. Hunt goes to his other son. He's like, where are they? Because Liam was the only one that knew that they were the pumpkin patch. And that's how Hunt and Rogers wind up at the pumpkin patch.
And there's a weird scene there in between that I don't like. There's a scene I don't like when Hunt and Rogers are driving in the car together. He's radioing in. He's like, tell Sheriff Brackett what's going on or whatever. And again, Sheriff Brackett exists in this world. Like, why isn't he in the forefront?
That's what I'm saying, man. Like Haddonfield is mentioned multiple times, but why is he in Russell? Yeah, why is he in Russell? And Loomis would have already been on. Loomis would have, like, if you hardened Myers, Loomis would have goddamn Houdini'd over.
He was doing very well last night! But so
then someone would have given lessons. But he would have just Houdini'd there. Like, you can't just not have Loomis there. But okay, but fine. We give him a pass on that because we're doing what we can.
And then we get to the penultimate scene, the final big blowout scene, and it's at the pumpkin patch. And we already mentioned he's killed a couple of the kids.
Yeah.
He kills them, and he does in typical Myers fashion. After he kills these kids, he takes their bodies and like dresses them up as scarecrows and all this crazy shit just to scare them.
Which always got me. It was weird that Myers takes the time to do that.
It's weird.
It's artistic, but it's like, wow.
But it does fit in with what he's doing. So he's killed the extra kids now at this point. He ends up killing Bear in an awesome scene.
That is awesome.
Because Bear goes into the house and he takes off his mask and puts it on a fucking broomstick and hides it in the corner. And Bear's like coming up to the mask, and then Michael Myers steps out from behind him.
But you never see his face.
Yeah, slices his eyes. Slices his fucking eyes.
Not only cuts 3 of his fingers off.
Yeah, and then kicks him down the steps, and it's like he's fucking dead.
Yeah.
So he dies, and then Michael Myers, it's him and Sophia. Noah shows up. He's trying to save her, and the girl with the pitchfork in her stomach is still somehow fucking alive.
Yeah.
They go into the barn, and there's this cool scene where, it's typical Michael Myers chasing shit. It reminded me of him chasing Laurie in the Halloween remake. But eventually, there's a cool scene where she's underneath the van, and she's hiding from underneath the van, and he starts stabbing the tires of the van. So the van is dropping down on her, and it's crushing her. And she somehow takes a wrench and uses this as a
I don't think
jack.
that works in real life.
But then he puts a brick on the thing, drives it off of a river. So there's this badass scene that happens there.
You know what? That was reminiscent of Halloween 4 with the barn scene.
And now Rogers and Hunt find the pumpkin patch. They find where the kids are. They run in the house, and the kids run out of it until she finds out that her mom has been killed. And when she does that, she's like, I'm not going to sit and wait for him to fucking kill me. She might as well said, I'm not going to Jamie Lee Curtis this bitch. She ran back in the fucking house, and there's this good scene. Noah runs after him. Everyone's fighting with Michael. It's this crazy scene. It's the typical Myers stuff that happens, and it goes on and on and on. And they save each other. They got each other's back, all this stuff. But eventually what ends up happening is the kids get out of the house. And
the confrontation between Rogers and Michael is the best.
This is where shit gets fucking crazy.
It's so good!
I want to get nuts. Let's get nuts.
Oh my god.
So Rogers has saved his kids. He's got them out of the house. But he's like, you want me. I'm the one you want. I'm the one that wanted you dead and all this shit. So Michael grabs him.
He's like, Myers like in the way was he's like, yep, you're right. I'm coming after your ass.
The cop cars are pulling up. You can see the lights outside. And Michael's got, Rogers. He's already killed Hunt.
Right.
And Hunt has the badass line. He's like, I'll see you in hell, you
That was awesome. That was cool as fuck,
so he kills him. And then it's Rogers and Mike in this house alone. And Mike's kind of up against the wall. And he sees the lights. And Rogers is like, you're done. They're going to kill you. You're done. You'll never kill again.
And it was cool how that instant, it was like Michael kind of realizes at that moment when he looks up from the mask, is that the way that the script's reading, he looks up and sees all the blue lights and headlights around him. So he knows, he's like, oh shit.
Right. So Michael then grabs his tongue, pulls it out of his mouth, and starts to cut. And you're thinking,
well, they don't say cut, they just...
Well, yeah, but you know what the fuck's coming, right? He's not going to lick it.
He's going to touch it. Let's make out.
Michael makes out with it.
Let's make out.
So he pulls his tongue out, and the next thing you know, all these cops are surrounding the house, and Michael runs out of the house. The cops obviously fucking shoot him. He's holding a glass shard in his hand.
Sophia's like, shoot him! She's like,
they shoot him, and when they shoot him a couple times, Sophia goes, oh my god, he's not. You can see that he's not wearing the jumpsuit. They H2O'd that bitch.
Yeah.
What Michael had done was he pulled his tongue out, cut it in half, and then put his mask over him, stabbed the glass shard into his hand so it looks like he was holding it, and pushed him out of the house.
Fucking great, man.
He H2O'd that shit, and then Michael obviously escapes. He's standing in the woods looking out at them.
But we didn't get to the best part. The weirdest part, actually.
Why did they burn down the house?
Well, because...
let's burn it down, because then we can say he's dead again.
Because they wanted the insurance money. But here's the thing. When they go into the house, after they realize they shot fucking poor Paul Rogers, Paul Revere's son. I always think Paul Revere, I don't know why. But he's still alive. He's taking like 3 slugs to the fucking chest.
Somehow he's talking.
He's still gurgling out fucking things, and he tells Sophia, which is a great scene. He's like, he doesn't just want to kill us. He wants to kill everyone, and they underline that everyone.
This is what changes the Myers mythos for forever at this point.
And then they run into the house. The cops do, and you see burned on the wall, written in blood. This town will never be safe again. Now that part is kind of weird for me because it's like I didn't know Michael could spell or write, but good for him. He's learned. He's had 10 years in prison, but it's still weird that he wrote that. I mean, it's so weird. And I almost thought that maybe Rogers wrote it before he died, but I don't know why Myers would like allow him to do that. But anyway, so they see that, they get out, the house burns down. Sophia's looking around, and then she sees it's like the shape is standing in the bushes away, and she can't really say or do anything, and it disappears. End credits roll. But as the camera rolls back.
Yeah. But let's take a pause here before we talk about the after credit scene, which is
here's the after credit scene.
Let's take a pause
Captain
here
America shows up.
and talk about what this means. Like, he writes on the wall, as we said, this town will never be safe again. And then Rogers says, you know, he doesn't want to kill us, he wants everyone dead.
Yeah.
So, now think back on what they've done here. They even chopped off Halloween 2 in this movie. They picked off from Halloween 1. Halloween 2 is the first time that we realize that Michael wants his family dead. So what they've done purposefully and intentfully is go back and change Michael Myers' reason for killing.
Yeah.
At this point, he no longer is after his family. It's not a family issue. He wants the whole town dead. He wants everyone fucking dead. How do you feel about that? That's the question of the day as well, is that because it changes Michael and what you know and love about Michael, but at the same time, it unshackles them for the rest of his movies,
and
because
you know what?
he doesn't have to face his family. He's just, he wants everyone fucking dead, and that's even scarier.
You know what? I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I like to give people a chance, like these authors of this script. I felt like they respected the material. So I would give them a chance to see where they wanted to go with it, as long as they were the ones keeping in line with their vision. Because once you start going down this path and it starts changing hands, it becomes a different fucking story. And then it becomes like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre dumb shit thing. And I didn't want that. I do like the fact that Myers is driven by the fact he wants to kill his family off, because that's always like that's always a pivotal thing in this. That's always a middle part of the Rubik's Cube.
But I think the truth deep down though is that even though we're canceling out these other movies and we're saying that they didn't exist, they still exist. We can watch them, you know. And the thing is that in Halloween 8, when he kills Jamie Lee Curtis, it was over. I mean, he killed his fucking family.
And that's what I'm saying.
There's nowhere else to go.
That's what I was getting to. Having it in that scenario that he only wants to kill his family, and then at that point he just goes into retirement, it limits Michael Myers in a way that you can't do anything with him. So expanding on that, breaking the shackles, as you said, letting him do whatever he wants to do. He's just a nature of evil now. I guess, but
overall.
But here's my question though: is he going to stay in Illinois? Is he going to go to Kentucky? Where's he going to go? Is he going to go to Canada?
We took different things from that. What I take from that when he reads "This town will never be safe again." What I read from that is that they fucking sat him in a room and a bunch of people showed up to watch him die, and he's fucking pissed. He literally wants that specific town dead, which is more than enough material to make 100 sequels.
That's true, but
I don't think he wants everyone dead, but he wants that town dead specifically.
Yeah, but again, though, you go back to the Haddonfield thing, which is where Michael Myers originated, and Loomis is alive.
It's an expanded.
What the fuck's going on over there? Like, it's a weird thing. But again, I didn't hate it. It just it felt like weird and awkward. But it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, especially if it was shot in a way, a deserved way. Deserved way is what I'm saying.
That's the question of the day: is that, do you like that spin? Do you like that we can be free of Michael chasing his family now, or do you want it to go back to that?
I don't think it means that we're going to be free of that. I think he's going to go do that, but I think he wants to kill everyone else afterwards.
I like it. At the end of the day, I think it unshackles the next writers.
Because after the curse of Michael, and especially the producer's cut, when you find out Michael fucked his niece, come the fuck on. And then he wants to he's controlled and shit. Like, I don't like that. Mm-hmm. So them erasing that, I'm fine with that. You want to erase the fact that he's controlled somehow, that's okay. Mm-hmm. So definitely. Yeah, but so the after credits.
The credits come up. I mean,
by the way, I want to say, the shot that they have planned coming out of the pumpkin patch with everything showing, it was all like Halloween 3D. You see everything. You see the burning town. You see, and it's Halloween.
And it literally says Michael's back.
It was awesome.
So that's cool. So okay, the after the credits scene. Now this, when I read it, I actually thought I've gotten my hands on a fake script, and I do want to give a quick shout out to two people, by the way. It's Aiden, who also found the We Watch Movie Music again that you see at the end of our videos.
Man, yeah.
Sent this to me on Twitter. Thank you so much for that. You're fucking killer and awesome. And also Kirk Rakestraw sent this to us. So thank you guys so much for that. That's fucking badass. I actually couldn't find the script, but Actually, when I read this is so crazy when you read this that I actually thought,
good, man.
oh shit, I got my hands on a fake script. I thought there's no way it could be real, but I think it is, man. Jay, I'll let you say it. Tell the people the goodness that happens.
This happened, guys. Okay, so Rogers survived, right? So after the credits roll, Rogers is alive, and he's in a recovering facility, rehab facility, and he's talking. And he's saying, I tried to save, for 10 years, I was trying to help him, I was trying to do this, I was trying to do that, and I don't know, I couldn't get through to him, and it cost me everything, and all of a sudden, you just see the way that it's reading on the shoulder, it says, you speak of Michael Myers as if he was a man. He's like, but Dr. Loomis, I tried everything, and he was like, Michael Myers was never a man. And he's like, he is simply and purely evil.
Pause right there. You see the silhouette also of Loomis. So he's talking to Loomis.
It pulls out. It pulls out.
See the silhouette and the gun. Now I just want to say what I thought was going on at this point.
Okay.
Because the words that Loomis used, you speak of him as if he was a man. I thought what we're going to see a silhouette. We're not going to see him, and then we're going to actually use at this point the audio track of Loomis from before as just an ode to Loomis, and then Loomis goes away. But no, continue.
When they pull out, it's finally revealed who Loomis is. What actor they portrayed to play Loomis is goddamn Gary Oldman, dude. Gary Oldman as Dr. Loomis, and they say he's wearing a black turtleneck with a trench coat, a beige trench coat, and he's saying to Rogers, he is purely and simply evil. Dude! And then it ends, and then it's over. Oh my God, dude! Jesus Christ!
Gary Oldman is Dr. Loomis.
That's who they wrote it for.
And it says in his 40s, which is weird because Gary Oldman
that was a while ago. So yeah.
But
even if it wasn't Gary Oldman, just the fucking scene itself is so sexual.
They had to have something from it.
It's so sexual.
They had to have like some. Gary Oldman had to be like, yeah, I'll do it if you get it done. And they literally says in the script. It turns around and Dr. Loomis is Gary Oldman. It's Dr. Loomis in his 40s.
Well, this again is a leaked script, so they could have wrote it for Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
But they, at the end of the day, the studio would have got a hold of it like, we can't get Gary Oldman, so we're gonna get some. But nonetheless, that scene itself. Oh my God, guys! Imagine watching Halloween, right? You're thinking, oh.
They marveled the bitch.
Yeah, man. And they marveled the fuck out of it, and then all of a sudden, a boom, extra scene happens, and it's fucking Dr. Loomis because I know. And they addressed it. This is why I love these writers so much. They addressed that because everybody was being wondering, where's Dr. Loomis? What's going on? Why isn't he in this? What, Loomis and Myers, it's, that's like his kryptonite. That's his, like, always arch nemesis. Where is he at? And then there he is at the very end of the script.
It's Gary fucking Oldman. How badass is that? So here's what I think happened. I think Gary Oldman, because I mean, an actor of his quality has to like take a step back when you're talking about like movies like Halloween sequels. He probably said, "I'll be willing to do it." Depending on how well the first movie does.
Yeah.
Do the first movie, and if it's good, I would play Dr. Loomis. So what they probably did was, they gave themselves an out. If Loomis shows up at the end of this movie and Gary Oldman is just in it for a second, right? Mm-hmm. And then the movie does shit and everybody hates it, then Gary Oldman can say, I'm not going to do it again, and they can just say at the next movie, Dr. Loomis died. And, he died in between movies. But if the movie does well, Gary Oldman signs on for a couple films, and the next movie takes place with Michael Myers, with Dr. Loomis. The problem with this script overall is there are several plot holes. Where's Sheriff Jacket? Where's Sheriff? Take off your pants and jacket. Where's Sheriff Brackett while this is going on? And why wouldn't you get Brad Dourif to come back? He was so great, even though it's a different scene and that movie doesn't exist in this universe.
Here's the reason why, though. I mean, when was the script supposed to be
2015.
Okay, so they said Gary Oldman 40s. He's not the 40s. Like, I don't know why they said Gary Oldman.
But they can make him look like he's in his 40s.
That's hard stretch.
He's not that old.
He's not that old, but he doesn't look like he's in his 40s anymore. But I mean, even then, like, I thought it was going for a younger Loomis, which I would have been down with that. I thought it was gonna be like a younger. You know what? Honestly, I thought it was gonna like change the whole mythos at the very beginning of the movie. I thought Rogers was the one that treated him first, and then Loomis takes over and becomes the actual guy.
Right, but think about it though. I mean, Donald Pleasance was easily in his 40s at the original.
But he looks like he's in his 40s.
And this takes place after.
Yeah,
but you look at Gary Oldman now and Donald Pleasance now, they're kind of the same. Gary Oldman, I mean, Donald Pleasance then and Gary Oldman now, it's not that far apart.
As far as the actor they chose, I'm fine with Gary. I love Gary Oldman.
Fucking Oldman.
Gary Oldman's awesome as fuck. But what if they had chosen John Goodman? That'd be crazy.
That'd work.
But I'm just saying,
you should play young Loomis. That'll be you.
That scene would have been badass by itself. I don't care what actor they chose. that scene, the way it read, the way that they shot the camera angle with kind of panning out, but you don't see Loomis, but you see, just Rogers talking and kind of recovering from the ordeal. And then when he says Loomis and then Loomis talking, like, I think that people in the theater would be like, it's like, it would have been like amazing. God damn.
Now, just putting this script in a capsule. I think that this script is a 9 out of 10 for me. Mm-hmm. I think that the way that they drew up the kills, it actually took Michael killing people, and it wasn't the same old shit. They added some surprises. They added some scares, like, oh, fuck, he's out, he's angry. I think they really did this in a way whereas they didn't rewrite the book. And they're not going to make it a extremely scary horror movie like the original Halloween was to people. Because he's like Darth Vader now. He's such a known face. But the way that they did the kills, the way that they rewrote the story, I want to see Myers on death row. I want to see him in these situations. It's fucking amazing. There's a couple plot holes. Why is it in Russellville? Where's Dr. Loomis? That stuff bothers me. But at the end of the day, not dead, just very much retired. But it would have been fucking amazing to see this movie. It's 9 out of 10.
It's a 9.5. I almost give it a 10, but there are problems with it.
Yeah.
I don't want to give it a 10. And you know what? I also look at it like this. It's a 9.5 for me. It's a 9 for you. We're talking about a script, and we're loving a script, and we're loving the way that they wrote it. But when studios get a hold of scripts, they change shit, they cut shit, they move shit around. Yeah. And I think that if they had left this alone and let it play out, maybe a few things they could have tweaked here and there, but overall, left it alone, it would have been a 9.5. But I'm also thinking in my head, Dimension Films aren't going to be the ones that are doing it.
Right, but
they're going to be like, okay, we got to cut this for time. We can't have a 2-hour movie.
But Dunstan was going to direct it, and he's got so that's something.
There was still, but the studio pressure would have told him, cut this out, cut that out, cut this out, and that would have sucked. Here's a guy. Guys, Hollywood, if you're listening, I know you're not. Give Mike and I $1 million, $2 million at the most. We'll make you a good steak.
Give us this script.
We'll make you a good script.
I can shoot this. I can shoot the script. This script is so good. I feel like I could shoot it with no fucking whatever.
It would be amazing.
But I want to say I have a theory about this, and this is my theory. Because you read this and it makes you sad because you're like, oh, it would have been perfect, and it's not going to happen. No, says I. I have a theory. I think this script was so good. They showed it to John Carpenter. They showed it to Blumhouse. This script may have been what got Blumhouse and Carpenter on board. And because think about it. Think about it. What does Carpenter hate more than anything? Carpenter hates the sequels to his Halloween movies.
He hates retreads.
He hates. He wasn't a fan of tying it to the family. He wanted just a killer that killed for no reason. And this script gave John Carpenter exactly what he wanted back.
They paid a lot of homage to John Carpenter. Actually, Liam, one of the surviving characters in this, the younger brother of Noah, is actually watching The Thing. On TV. Exactly. I mean, they paid so much homage to John Carpenter. They're like, hey, man, we love you. We know you've done what you've done. And you're right, man. I think that John Carpenter looked at this like, this is the fucking bomb.
But we do know that he's not going to use this exact script because the most recent news was Carpenter was like, yeah, it's still happening, I think, but there's no script yet.
See,
now, I think that he may have read this and a light bulb may have went off in his head where they're not going to copy this script, but he might have said, it can be done. And I think this script, even though the movie didn't get made, and that's unfair to Marcus Dunstan, and I hate that, but this, I'd love to see Blumhouse decide to hire him to do this. Let Carpenter produce it, and that would be fucking amazing.
We know that this is a script, and we know that it might have been the second or maybe the first draft. I don't know, but dude, it was good the way it was.
I think Carpenter would like this script.
I don't think there's really. I think there's a few things that need to be tweaked and changed in it, but not much. Overall, the script, like 97% is fucking good. Like there's nothing that needs to be touched or changed.
Yeah.
And if we had the money or the capabilities to make a movie like this, I would fucking do it. Like if I was in the position to greenlight a project, I would say use that fucking script, tweak it a little bit, but greenlight it. And you get the guy to direct it. Dunstan, have him direct it.
Yeah.
Like.
I agree too.
In this story.
Comment down below, let us know what your all's thoughts are. What do you think is going to happen with Halloween? Can we please get a motherfucking Halloween movie?
Can something happen?
Give us something.
God
you keep
damn.
teasing us with the dick and it hurts. It hurts.
That sun came up bright as fuck.
The sun sucks.
It does.
We love your fucking faces. Comment down below with your thoughts.
I'm a ghost.
If you're new to the channel, click that subscribe button and get some goddamn wham up in you.
We watched a movie. Yeah. We watched a movie. We watched a movie.